Once you enter the Faron Woods, just run on ahead and you will find a bird statue straight ahead. As I just stated, you should save at all of these bird statues, since once we return to the area, like once we're back in the clouds, and once we return to the Faron region, we will be able to warp to any of the statues that we have saved at. So that it's very important that you activate all of them. It just makes for easier transportation in the future. So the Faron Woods, it shares its name from the Faron Woods in Twilight Princess, but it doesn't seem like there's any significant connection between the two. It's just the names Faron, Eldin, and La Nehru from Twilight Princess. They sort of, it's common themes. They use the names often here. And it's sort of based off like Din, Nehru, and Faron. You know, it's the three goddesses, so it's basically the same names they've used frequently, and it's part of the Zelda lore to begin with. But I don't think there's any significant connection between the Faron Woods now and Faron Woods in Twilight Princess. Given their placements on the Zelda timeline, Skyward Sword being before Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess being well after Ocarina of Time on one of the timeline splits, it's hard to think that these really have significant connection between the two. Anyway, just run on ahead and slash away at these little mini bamboo type tree things, and your dowsing mechanic will be going crazy straight ahead, and you will find two red bokoblins. There's a strange like plant-like creature below, but first and foremost, let's defeat these two red bokoblins. Nothing too difficult about them at all, but once they are defeated, run on over and speak with the plant-like creature. So that plant-like creature is part of a new race here in Skyward Sword known as Kikwi, and these are creatures that occupy the Faron Woods region, and there's a bunch of them in this area, and they're pretty hilarious. I absolutely love their reactions when they get scared. Just like that. They, jump up in fear and like start shaking. Even more so in just a moment when the Kikwi sees Fi for the first time. Or, sorry, Fi. Fi. I believe it's correctly pronounced Fi. I say that because, there's that old saying, Fi, Fi, Fo, Fum. And the second part, Fi, then Fi, is spelled Fi, which is the same spelling of Fi here in Skyward Sword. So, yeah, that's just a little bit of knowledge here. Fi, as I will probably mix that up throughout the quest because it's such a strange word to begin with. Like, why couldn't they name her like, well, I don't know. I suppose if they gave her a normal name, that would just sound strange. If they named it Brittany or something. Anyway, there's that glittering mushroom right here, and if you hit it and slash away, if you slash at it with your sword and then use your bottle, you will grab some glittering spores, and I'll talk more about that in just a bit. For now, just follow the Kikwi. So now that we found the first Kikwi in the form of Machi, we are now looking for the Kikwi Elder. Instead, you can push this little log here, and just to the left you will find an amber relic. This is probably one of the most common treasures in the entire game, and it's used to upgrade items later on. But the Amber Relic is just so common that you'll find it's very, it's not very useful because you're going to run into so many of them. And it's not really, while you'll use more Amber Relics than any of the other treasures, it's just not as vital. Like, you're not going to be running around just trying to get Amber Relics. Anyway, you want to run up the little slope here, and as I said, there's a second Amber Relic right ahead. And there's more Bokoblin. A few things about these Bokoblin. While it appears sort of like they block to the right then to the left, really your best bet is to just swing to the right, almost allow them to block you, and then just immediately swing to the left. Just that quickness of your sword will distract them long enough to defeat them. Alternatively, you could use a shield bash attack that works. That'll basically just stun them, and it allows you to just waggle away and defeat them. As soon as you land the first hit, just waggle away with your sword to defeat them. So the Elder Kikwi is right ahead in this higher ledge, but we can't reach it just yet. Instead, push off this log. This makes just for easy transportation. And, you know, as I have been repeating, that's now the fourth Amber Relic we've gotten in a span of, I don't know, 60 seconds. Run ahead and you'll find another Octorok here. I defeated one earlier, but these are classic Zelda enemies that were around since the original Legend of Zelda. They have taken several forms, though. In the original Legend of Zelda, they would wander around on the ground, and that's basically the same appearance they had in many of the 2D games. In like Ocarina of Time, they took on almost like water versions of themselves. In this one, they're like underground, and you can just deflect their rocks with your shield. Jump over to the rope here, jump on over, and then run on and speak with Bucha, the Kikwi Elder.
Cute. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Cute. Cute, cute.
So our quest leads us to search for 3 of the remaining missing Kikwi. You can get these in any order really, but this is, I think, the most efficient order. Crawl through the little gap and then climb the vines here. And I like how you can grab things with your sword like that. But this one actually holds a fairy, and you can actually grab that fairy using one of your empty bottles, or you can just run into it and fill it up yourself. Fairies, they serve just as they did before. They will, although it's sort of changed in certain games. In Skyward Sword, it will restore 6 recovery hearts, so the potions are more valuable. You want to walk across this tightrope here, and you'll find these new enemies. They're not really named, but they sort of resemble Mew from past Zelda games. That's M-Y-U. They're basically spiky balls that will attach to Link, and they will basically explode, give off like a small bomb of sorts. You can jostle by just shaking your Wiimote forward, and it'll cause them to fall over. Run ahead and you will find another Bokoblin, but this one is a little bit different. As you can see, he has a little cap on his head, and he also has a horn. This is because he's not just a regular Bokoblin, but he's a Bokoblin Leader. And basically these Bokoblin have the power of summoning their fellow other Bokoblin. There's really not much of a difference other than just that. They can call over their friends using that horn. You will find that there is a Kikwi, but he's up in the tree since he's sort of hiding. He is scared because of all the red guys, as they refer to him, the Bokoblin. So you want to free him by getting him down. There is that little green rope next to his body, but we can't really do anything about that just yet. So instead, you want to use what we learned earlier from the little boy on Skyloft and roll into the tree, sending the Kikwi falling to the floor. That little rope will also fall down as well. So this is the first of the 3 Kikwi that we have to find. And he, of course, goes through the process of thanking you. And he's, his name is Lopsa. Where do they come up with these names? Like, I seriously want to know what the brainstorming is. Let's see, what should we call him? How about, Lopsa. Yeah, Lopsa, that makes sense. I like Lopsa. Alright, Lopsa it is. Anyway, I absolutely love when Fee just appears and they just get scared. It's just awesome. They can just jump to the ground and hide. But I just used my glittering spores on the recovery hearts. Glittering spores, they have an effect on both rupees and recovery hearts. For recovery hearts, they will always turn the hearts into fairies. That could be very valuable, actually, so it's a good idea to keep some glittering spores handy. You can use them on rupees as well, and the rupees, it will change the rupee. It will change from a green rupee. If you use it on a green rupee, it could change to a blue one or a red one, or even a rupor, which is sort of like a negative rupee. Anyway, progress further along, and you'll run into these bird-like creatures known as Guay. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's G-U-A-Y. And they will actually poop on you. Seriously. They're pretty easy to avoid. The second Kikwi is found up here, and he's sort of hiding in these bushes here. And even after you slash away some of the bushes, the Kikwi will just crawl over to other bushes. So you have to basically slash away enough of them so he can hide. Afterwards, his location will be revealed, and here is the second Kikwi. Apparently these Kikwi are not too good at hiding. Anyway, this one's known as Urla, another strange, uncommon name. And strangely, Urla does not get scared of Fi when Fi appears. So, anyway, that's two Kikwi down and 1 to go. You can jump down, and there's some more Bokoblin here. It's worth noting that some of these Bokoblin will actually give off rewards for you. They'll give off monster horns. We saw these earlier. In fact, there was one of them that back when we were at Gorko the Goron, one of the Bokoblins dropped a monster horn that I seemingly forgot to pick up. I don't know why. But these are more treasures that you will find throughout your quest. And monster horns, they're good. They're not the most rare of treasures, but they're not as common as, say, the jelly blobs and the amber relics and such. Anyway, there's a series of Octoroks here. You can defeat them using your shield bash. One thing worth noting, you can actually defeat them deflecting their rocks with your sword as well, but that's significantly harder. If you don't time it properly and the rock just hits your shield, you won't take damage, but your shield meter will decrease. Your shield meter is basically just like your health meter in a sense. You know, it can take its own damage, and you can actually use the revitalizing potion to restore your shield's power. Alternatively, later on when we're back in Skyloft, we can run on over to the scrap shop and repair our shields at any point, but it's at a cost of rupees. Once you climb up to this higher ledge here, there's a tightrope in the distance, and there is a piece of heart found here. Yay! This is technically the first piece of heart in the game, at least the one that I'm getting. However, it's not the first one you could get. There is one in the sky that we could have gotten. I didn't get it just yet because it was sort of inefficient and out of the way, and there's really no point in getting a piece of heart unless you can get 4 of them. The piece of hearts in Skyward Sword, as I just said, you need 4 of them to fill up a full heart container. And once you fill up a full heart container, it'll increase your life from 6 hearts to 7 hearts. It's one thing different about Skyward Sword. You actually start with 6 hearts instead of 7. This is the only game, to my knowledge, that you have hearts. Adventure of Link, I guess, is different, but it's the only game where you don't start with 3 hearts. Unlike Twilight Princess, where you needed 5 pieces of heart to get a full heart container, in Skyward Sword you only need 3 of them. You only need 4 of them. Anyway, run on over, and here is the final Kikwi. And I sort of just wasted my glittering spores, much for the reason that I'm not really going to use them much in the quest. So here is the final of the Kikwi. You'll find him, and his name is Olo, O-O-L-O. And of course, he gets scared by Fi. So now that we've found all 3 of the missing Kikwi, it's now time to return to Bucha, the Kikwi Elder. You can just jump over this ledge. There's a lot of ways you can get over. It's a good idea to just run around if you like, just to explore the Faron Woods. Much for the reason is we're going to be returning to this area several times throughout our quest, and it's just a good idea to get used to your environment. Especially later on, there's more elaborate searching quests, and you just want to have a good idea of where you need to go. It's a bit of a maze though, because there's so many twists and turns. It's not that linear in a sense. It's a very open environment, which is pretty nice. I mean, I think most Zelda fans prefer the open environment. The Faron Woods back in like Twilight Princess, that seemed very linear in a sense. There was basically only one route from like basically the entrance and then towards the Faron, or towards the Forest Temple. Anyway, return to Bucha and you'll get a nice reward.
Q, Q. Q. Q, Q. Ho, ho, ho.
Alright, so we now got our first inventory item of sorts, your first weapon, not counting your sword, and it comes in the form of the Slingshot. The Slingshot acts much like it did in Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. Using the Wii Motion Plus, though, it works pretty good. It's basically just a point and click type thing, and it doesn't use the sensor bar. That's one thing that's sort of confusing. The Wii sensor bar is not used for pretty much any item in the game. Basically, even if you're facing like a wall to the left of your TV and you equip your Slingshot, you can just aim by moving up and down and such, just like that. It works very well, and the Slingshot is very useful. Unlike, say, Twilight Princess, where the Slingshot sort of became obsolete so early on in the game, you'll find that the Slingshot is useful throughout much of the game. And it's kind of strange getting the Slingshot within the actual Faron Woods. Nintendo has explained this as sort of changing the whole dungeon field philosophy in saying that the areas leading to the dungeons are sort of dungeons themselves. Not sure if I exactly buy this explanation, but it does make sense in that, you know, the dungeon has its own little quests, there's own puzzles how to get to certain areas of the Faron Woods, and then you are rewarded with a dungeon item in the form of a Slingshot. I guess the only thing missing is there's no dungeon boss. Anyway, hit the little swirly green rope thing and it'll extend the rope downward. You can now climb on this rope and then use the Wiimote to swing back and forth, and you can jump off to get to the higher ledge. Just run straight ahead to get to the next area of the Faron region, and that is the Deep Woods, and we will be covering that in the next section, so I'll leave you with a little cutscene right before.